Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now today I am just like feeling really inspired and really convicted and really just feeling a pull to share the story and share more of my life with you guys. If you've been following me for a long time, you know I predominantly film makeup tutorials and product reviews, and although I love makeup, it is my passion and I love sharing new products with you. There's such a big part of my life that I don't often share here on YouTube. Like what I've taken on is to share like a more full picture of myself and who I am and who I feel like I was created to be. I am a little bit nervous to make this video, not because of like not having pride in who I am, but because this completely changes everything in the way I create content. And I feel like after I share the story with you, I have such a responsibility and to take ownership of like being this transparent with you guys. So I'm going to share a little bit of my story on here. Before we get into it, if you have not subscribed to my channel, definitely do so. You know I film makeup tutorials and product reviews, but that is about to change, and I'm about to be sharing the biggest part of my life with you from here forward. I pretty much just want to share my story with you, how I came to faith, and I'm just going to go right to the beginning. So I was born in Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. My entire family was born in Tanzania. I'm the youngest of three. My mum and dad moved from country to country. They both did refugee work. So my father was Muslim and my mother was Christian. They got married. He didn't force her to convert. Everything worked out. So, you know, I was raised in a household where it was like grace on the one end and discipline on the other side. And we grew up in that kind of duality. And because my parents did refugee work, we moved from Tanzania when I was just 6 months old and moved from like country to country to country. And I ended up in South Africa when I was 6 years old. And I think by the time I was 6, I lived in about 5 different countries. Although I grew up in South Africa, what it did is it created this like deep sense of displacement inside me, and I kind of saw myself as like a citizen of the world and a resident of none, you know. And I carried that same narrative growing up in South Africa, English being my first language, not fluently speaking a South African language, not fluently speaking Swahili. I always felt like when I was in South Africa I was a foreigner, you know, but when I went to Tanzania I was a foreigner as well. And this displacement kind of continued through my life. So I've been passionate about beauty and fashion since I can remember. I was always the house that the girls came to before the party. I would do everyone's makeup, I'd do everyone's hair, I'd pick the outfits. You know, people came to me for advice. It was a natural part of my life. I didn't ever think it was going to be a career. But I started a blog when I was in college. I did my undergrad in graphic design and art direction. It did really well in South Africa. The industry was very small at the time. And so, you know, I was like one of the first bloggers in South Africa. So I started getting invited to all of these industry events and fashion weeks. And I ended up interning and then blogging for Elle magazine and working with them on their covers for Elle magazine South Africa. And I had these really incredible opportunities in a very short amount of time. The ceiling, because the industry was small, the ceiling was really low. And I wanted to move to LA. And so I came over here with the sole intention that I was gonna just take everything that the city had to give me and move on to the next. I was gonna move to Dubai and Paris and London, and I didn't understand or have any intention of longevity in LA. It was really purely to learn, to broaden my horizons, to, you know, take education and then move on. In between this transition from South Africa to LA, I'd stopped blogging and I was in school. I moved here and I knew I had to make friends. And so I tried to make friends and I did, you know, but there was a space in my life where I was just getting so frustrated and so tired of doing the same thing. Partying every weekend, going for dinner which turns into drinks, which turns into a club, going for breakfast which turns into drinks, which turns into more drinks and more drinks and more drinks, you know. I was a chain smoker for like 10 years. There was so much of my life, although at the time, what I thought were great friendships, everything was centered around consumption and drinking and having fun and just living life, you know, and it was fun, you know, but it left me pretty empty and pretty frustrated. And I remember there was a point where I had started to make friends, but I was getting very frustrated because I kept saying no to like going out and hanging out because I was just tired of the same routine over and over again. I didn't have the language to explain to them why I didn't want to engage in the same activities. I just wanted something different. And so by a kind of series of events, my sister and I found out that my sister's 3 best friends from when I was 3 and she was really young, that lived in Mozambique, all lived in LA. Via Facebook, we realized this. We hadn't seen them for 20 years, and we all met up. One of the girls, she had a nonprofit at the time, and she invited us to this event. And the event was a generosity water event. Now, at the time, like, please best believe, like, I wasn't trying to drink water and I was not trying to do anything for charity, you know. And so I was very reluctant to go to the event, but I did. And at that event, in 3 separate conversations, we all got invited to church. And at the time, I was like, church, huh? The thing that I had graduated from when I graduated high school, it was serendipitous at the time that this was an invitation that had happened, you know, in 3 separate conversations. And so the next day I wake up and I got my sister and I'm like, hey, look up the address, you know, for the church. And she's like, dude, the church is across the street. And I rolled out of bed, and I'm pretty sure I wore sweatpants that day. And I rolled into this church, and it was a non-denominational church called Mosaic on Hollywood and La Brea. And the conversation that day was, why God? Now, at the time, I believed in God. I did believe in God. It wasn't even like higher power. Like, I believed in God, but I wasn't sure that he believed in me, you know. I was very, very intrigued by the conversation. A man called Erwin McManus was speaking, and I decided to come back the next week. So the next week I walk in, and the conversation that day was, why Jesus? Now, it was at this point that I realized that I had to pay attention to the conversation that was being had, because I was sitting at the intersection, not just of Hollywood and La Brea, but of what was my past and what could be my future. You know, I was raised with a father that was Muslim, and so in Islam, you know, you take on your father's religion, but my mum was Christian and I went to an Anglican Christian private school, so I learned about Jesus there. My best friend was Muslim and he was a sheikh, so I learned a lot about Islam with, you know, growing up with their family, spending a lot of time at their house. And I still sat on that fence and I thought, you know, if I choose Islam, I'm letting down my entire family, at least half of it, you know, all 23 aunts and uncles that I have. And if I choose Christianity, you know, there was like no win-win. And that day when I walked in and the conversation was, why Jesus, I understood that Jesus is the one that came for me. You know, I understood the context of relationship. And I can go on about, you know, the details and the intimacy of this in a different video as well. But it really opened my eyes to a conversation that I needed to be translated, and for the first time it made sense for me in a language that I understood. That day I didn't make a decision to follow Jesus, but I kept coming back and I kept coming back week after week, and I realized that my life outside of the building was so jarringly different to my life inside the building. And so over time, with more butting heads and more fights honestly and more frustration, I kept saying no to the things that I didn't want, and it started to change things. My mum, when I was little, would always tell me, you know, Tanya, no is a full sentence. And I never understood what she meant. And it was only when I started to exercise my no's that I realized that, you know, when you start to live a life connected to Jesus, your no's come with certainty and your yeses come without regret. And my life transformed a few months later. I was sitting in the back like I usually did, because I was very like in and out and shy in the church, you know. And so I was sitting, and there was a speaker called Hank Fortner, and he spoke. He was doing a series of talks about freedom, and he read this verse in Philippians, and it said, "It is for freedom that Christ has set us free. Stand firm then, and do not let yourselves be burdened again by your yoke of slavery." And I understood it. I got it like in this moment everything clicked for me. It was like, oh, okay, I have been feeling so trapped by my decisions because I'm a people pleaser and I want to say yes to please people, and I'm so afraid that if I say no to the things that I don't want to engage in or be involved in, that I'm not going to have friends. And when I gave my life to Jesus, because I did, in that moment when I heard that verse, sitting in that chair, I gave my life to Jesus, and I prayed a prayer, and I said, God, Jesus, like come into my life, be in relationship with me, make me new again. Yes, he came into my life, but my God, it started a journey of transformation that is still continuing today, 7 years later. What I just want to share with you is that, God will never promise for your life that when you live a life connected to him, that you're not going to have any more problems, that you're not going to have any more insecurities or be uncertain of things. But what I can promise you is that when you live a life connected to the creator of the universe, that he'll never leave you. And I would rather live a life when I am in my quiet moments, I know that God is with me through that. In my struggles, I know that God is with me through that. And then live a life isolated and lonely and not have somebody that is always fighting for me. And this is just such an important story to share with you guys, because it's the largest part of my life. It's about building the future. It's about caring about people. It's about casting vision and understanding how to create spaces for people to connect to God, but creating spaces where young people can come together and old people can come together. You belong before you ever believe. And you can come as you are, dressed as you are. You can come highlighted and contoured. You can come barefaced, and you belong. And that's what I love about the church, and that's what I love about Jesus. And so for my channel, I would love to create more faith-based conversations. I'm sure you guys are going to be like, what? Like, what is this video about? Where's this coming from? This is the biggest part of my life. I'm connected to the church, and I spend so much time in ministry and building the church and creating spaces for people to connect to God. So no matter where you are on your journey, whether you have been walking with God for a long time or whether you've never had a conversation with him, I want my channel to be a place where, oh my God, I'm getting emotional. Wow. I want my channel to be a place where people are inspired, and know that you are loved and know that you belong. I want my comment section to become a community where we can engage with each other. You can say, hey, you can write your prayer request there. We can become a community of people that support each other. That is what I want my channel to be about. I love makeup. I always love makeup, and I'm still going to do product reviews and that kind of thing. But oh my God, I'm still a YouTuber that loves makeup, and I have tattoos and piercings, and I love fashion, and I have insecurities, and I'm a girl, and I'm a business owner, and oh my gosh, and I'm an immigrant, and there's so much that I want to share with you. That makeup is just this little part of my life, but it's something that we interact with every single day. And if I could just create a space where through beauty, through makeup, through fashion, through lifestyle, I can share who I believe that I was and you were created to be, and we can come together and inspire each other and struggle together and figure it out together, then my God, I would be so happy. So this is me. This is a little bit of my story. This is a look into the kind of content that I'm going to be making going forward. If you guys still want makeup tutorials, I will do them. If you want product reviews, I will do them. But if you are interested in these videos about faith, in God, in how to read your Bible, in marriage, in just life, just real life stuff, that's what I'm here for. That's the kind of content I'm going to be making going forward. I will probably be full glam, most of it. I will probably be highlighted and contoured and have my lily lashes on, while I'm making these videos. But I want to share with you guys why Jesus, why the church. And if you don't know God, and if you don't know Jesus and you're not interested, I guarantee you that take away the word Jesus and take the insights and the healthy living that you will receive from the things that I'm saying, and all it's going to do is make you a better person, regardless if you ever believe. You may not believe in God, but God believes in you, and that my channel can be a space where you come to and you leave feeling inspired, feeling better, feeling encouraged. Don't be afraid to question. I'm not going to say everything right. I'm not going to always have the popular opinion, but I'm going to share my heart with you, and I hope that through being this transparent and through sharing all the wisdom that I've been given, and the wisdom that I'm sure I'm going to learn from you too, that we can create a really beautiful place on this platform. So thank you so much for listening to my story. Thank you so much for, if you've made it to the end of this video, my God, I love you. So I appreciate so much that you've clicked this video. Giving my video a thumbs up really lets me know that you're enjoying the content that I'm creating. And yeah, that's everything that I have for you. If you have any questions about this video, if there are any video suggestions that you would like me to film, then leave it down in the comments. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel as well. And I love you guys. I will see you in the next video. God bless you. And remember, don't let anybody dim your glitter. Bye.